So feeding for top line. Building top line requires three things. The first is appropriate work, because you cannot, if you link it back to yourself, if you wanted nice big biceps, you can't sit on the lounge and expect to get nice big biceps. You actually have to go and work your biceps a little bit so that you've got nice big biceps. So same with a horse. You've got to work them in a way that's appropriate to build up their top line. They need to have adequate calorie intake, because if you're not feeding them enough calories to do the work that they're doing with a little bit left over to build some top line, because it takes energy to build top line, then they're not going to build any top line. And then the third ingredient is good quality protein. They have to have good quality protein, because as we saw with the building blocks, if you're not giving them the essential amino acids they need, they're not going to have the building blocks to build the protein. So I often think of the calorie intake and the good quality protein as like a brickie in his bricks. Your brickie is the energy, that's the calories. He's the thing there that's actually driving, building a brick wall, and then the protein is his bricks. So if you want to build a brick wall, you need a brickie and you need the bricks. If you've just got bricks but you don't have a brickie, they're not going to do anything because they're not going to build themselves. Or you've just got a brickie but you don't give any bricks, it's not going to do anything either, because he's there but he's got nothing to build a brick wall with. So you have to have both. Otherwise top line doesn't happen. And there's a bunch of other things. If your horse has got a sore back, obviously it's not going to use its muscles properly in its back, and it's not going to build top line. So there's those sorts of things that come into play as well. But basically appropriate work plus adequate calorie intake plus good quality protein is going to equal muscle building. It'll happen. As long as your horse has also genetically got the genes to have a muscly back. So some breeds of horses are obviously much more muscly than other horses. You're never going to make an Arabian look like a Clydesdale across the top line, because genetically they're just not built like that. If you miss any of these three components, your horse is not going to build muscle. And the timing of protein intake may also be important. So giving good quality protein immediately before or immediately after work is going to give the horse's muscles the building blocks it needs to build muscle at the time when the muscles are most likely to use them. So this is a really common strategy used in human bodybuilders, where they'll have one of their whey protein shakes either right before they work out or right after they work out, with the theory being that that's when the muscles are most likely to be looking around going, okay, I need to build myself up. And if you give them the building blocks at that time, they'll build up. There's actually a fair bit of contention in human sports nutrition as to whether that is actually the case. But I think there's enough studies, I read a fair few last week, and there's enough studies to show that yes, if you provide good nutrition either immediately before or immediately after a workout, that's going to give muscles the best chance to build up. And in this one, can't stress enough the importance of protein quality. So without the good quality protein, your horse just physically doesn't have the building blocks to build protein. But I think we've covered that pretty well.